unprepared. I know it may be tricky to keep on your smile. I know it may be hard to get through, but I want you to promise me you will always be my company, and I'll promise you I'll do the same and promise you that I will always be right by your side. I will try to never let you cry, even in your darkest days. I'll help you and be with you. I will never let you go. I want you to know that I'll be there for you. When we rolled, we'll still be living in our youthful days of gold. We'll remember, think back to the days we'd say we'll be friends forever. Look at all the promises I kept for you. I'd stay, and we kept our word through night and day. And I want you to promise me you'll always be my company, and I'll promise you I'll do the same and promise you that I will always be right by your side. I will try to never let you cry, even in your darkest days. I'll help you and be with you. I will never let you go. I want you to know when you're troubled, I'll come to you. When you're lost, I'll try to lead you. When I want you to be a success, I'm sure you do the same for me. So just let all your burdens turn to dust and fly away. Even in your darkest days, I'll help you and be with you. I will never let you go. Be there, be there, be there. I'll be there for you.
Thank you, Maya, for that wonderful performance of her own original song, Be There For You. Hello, I'm Dana, and welcome to iHub Open, our annual open house. Tonight is the perfect opportunity for you to get to know our school a bit better, and for us to showcase to you the many unique opportunities that iHub has to offer. But first, we would like to acknowledge the privilege we have to host this event on the unceded ancestral and traditional territories of the Quaquilum First Nations, which lies within the shared territory of the Keycat, Kitsi, Musqueam, Squamish, Stolo, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations, all my relations. Now let's get into the open house. Tonight, you'll get a closer look into the many elements of iHub, including students' experiences and achievements, with information, interviews, and a Q&A section. There is also food available in the foods room for guests, which you've probably already noticed, which you can go check out after this open house session. Please be aware if you have any dietary restrictions. This event is also being live streamed to our YouTube audience for people who couldn't be here in person tonight. So all of you in the audience, please be aware that there are cameras recording this, and that if you ask any questions during the Q&A section, you will be recorded for our live audience. I would like you all now to turn your attention to this quick video as an introduction into who your child can become and what they can achieve at iHub.
Here at Inquiry Hub, we dream, we create,
and we learn. Just look at our garden. It went from bleak and uninviting to open, welcoming, and bright. We also have some amazing murals around the school, all designed and painted by our grade 10 classes as part of the inquiry process. iOpen and Roadshow are other examples of student-led projects. Both shows are planned and put on by senior iHub students, with performances and presentations from many other students, ranging from grade 9 to 12. The piano in this video is performed by me. I've been playing the piano for many years, and I've had the chance to showcase that passion through iHub numerous times. At iHub, you can pursue your interests in a helpful and welcoming environment.
I hope you all enjoyed that video as much as I always do. I personally feel like iHub has given me the opportunity to participate in so many cool projects that I would have never gotten the chance to before, like learning programming, which I never thought I would have done, designing my own website, partnering with friends to paint the murals that you see in the gym here, and even starting a book club here at our school. I would now like you all to welcome Persia, our second MC for tonight.
Thank you so much, Dana. It's great to meet all of you. Some of you might recognize me. I was in one of the groups that participated in Roadshow. For any of you who don't know what Roadshow is, it's essentially where us iHub students go to all the middle schools and talk to them about our school. I'm sure many of you are here from that. If so, nice to see you again. If not, nice to meet you. If we could please turn our attention to the screen, we're gonna watch Riley from grade 9 and Paula from grade 12 talk about their experiences at iHub so far.
How did you feel about iHub when you first came versus now?
How do I feel about iHub when I first came versus now? Well,
I was really nervous to come because I didn't know anybody here.
coming into Inquiry Hub, I was very scared of going into high school. I'm not the most social person, so I was very terrified, but coming here and meeting everyone, now I'm a lot more comfortable.
I'm so glad I came because I can't imagine going to another school because everyone here is just so nice and I'm so glad I came.
What has been your favorite part about iHub?
People.
I would say the community.
Everybody's just so nice and the friends that I've made are absolutely amazing. And I became close with everybody so fast, and that's never happened with anybody before, and it's just because everyone here is just so great.
From different communities and different groups together definitely makes you feel more comfortable and more at home because you know you'll be accepted no matter what.
What would you say to the grade 9 students?
Advice I would give to the grade 9 students: talk to people, because by talking to people you'll make more connections. If you have a project on art and you know that your friends all does art for a living, it can help you.
How has iHub helped you change and develop as a person?
I haven't been here long, but just because of how inclusive and amazing everybody is, I am more confident with who I am and being who I am around other people.
I am a very anxious individual. I don't like social activities. I get very scared around large groups of people. But coming into iHub, starting off with a small community, definitely eased my nerves a lot, made me become more confident in myself, helped me grow more as a person. So going into busier places, into large groups of people, I'm a lot more comfortable with that because I've experienced that in a small school. So if I go into a bigger school,
What would you ask the grade 12 students?
If they're prepared for what's happening after high school, so college, university, neither. Just if they're prepared and IHUB is done well.
I think, well, for once, you can never really be prepared. I think everyone who goes out of high school is always terrified, and that's not something you can really help. But it's, like I said before, it's made me a lot more comfortable with bigger groups. So I think it definitely helped me in that aspect where I'm more comfortable with outings, I'm more comfortable with a big amount of people. And I think it's also opened up a lot more opportunities for me. So I feel prepared in a sense of I know that there are things that I'm able to do. I don't have to know right away, but I know that options are there if I want them. And just having that sense of control and sense of relief has definitely helped me a lot.
I really like that video. I think it showcases how you can change and learn over years at iHub and how the community has such a big part in that. Now, I'm going to hand it off to our principal, Mr. Truss, who's going to talk to you a bit about iHub's history, its vision, and go into the specifics of our application process and our unique schedules.
Greetings, everyone. One of the interesting things about this role is for open, I tend to just fill in the gaps because this is really done by the students. Even the live performance that's happening online, everything is done by the students, the planning for it, the videos, the editing, all of it. And so they get a little stressed when they don't know what I'm going to say. And I'm going to go way off script, but before I do, I want to promise them that I'm going to hit every bullet that they ask me to speak about. The first thing I'd like to do is I just wanted to say that about 3 minutes before the lights went and the music started by Cohen, I had the opportunity to see someone I haven't seen in years. Jay Jang was one of our first students that joined here at Inquiry Hub. Some of the teachers are only now seeing him. And he went to UBC for computer studies. And it's interesting because the video asks, a grade 9 asks a grade 12, well, what's it, you know, are you prepared? Well, a grade 12 isn't ready to answer that question. So I'm going to pull Jay up here with just a moment's notice and ask him, did Inquiry Hub prepare you for computer science at UBC, and what was that experience like? So welcome, Jay.
Okay, so do I be honest or do I? Okay. Oh yeah. Welcome everyone. I'm actually Jay. I graduated from Inquiry Hub 7 years, 5 years, 6 years. Yeah. Around then, I went to UBC, University of British Columbia. Graduated about like last year, and I'm currently working in Amazon right now as a software engineer. So I just came back to say hi, and Mr. Truss was like, yeah, join us and give us a talk. But yeah. So what was it like going from iHub to? Yeah, definitely. It was great. One of the reasons that I came back was to say thank you to the teachers and the whole community of school that it really helped me. I think during Create and Learn, just that logo shows that you're able to just lead a project. You're able to just find out who you are and just know what you're passionate about. Like, what do you like? Compared to other schools, they're just busy just teaching knowledge, but compared to this school, we're able to get support for finding out who you are. So that really helped me, and I still remember the first time I learned that I really liked computer science was that I came to Inquiry Hub. One of the, I think the professor, one of the teacher at the time opened the computer club. I joined, and that's the first time I realized I actually like computer science. And Inquiry Hub really supported me when I really wanted to do projects. learn more about it. And without that support, I don't know like how, if I could have really gone into computer science and really had that passion into it. So all this talk, but in the end, I just want to say that all the students here, that this is a great school. It supports who you are, supports what you're passionate about. So don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to approach the teachers and just come up with ideas that you want to just pursue. And yeah, maybe it doesn't work out for you, maybe it fails later on, but the fact that you were able to lead whole project of coming up with ideas, pursuing it, and just delivering it, it really becomes a skill that helps you out in your career and your whole life. And I just wanted to say like thank you to the teachers who are still here, and Mr. Trust that for supporting and just really coming up with this great school, and just allowing me to just follow that passion and be here today. Yeah, thank you very much.
And I think for some people, it would be nerve-wracking putting someone up on stage in front of people without giving them much notice. Thank you, Jay. But one of the things that we do here at Inquiry Hub is we always practice presentations. So I knew Jay would be capable and I wouldn't be putting him in too big a spot. And I did ask if I could do it. I didn't just put him completely on the spot. A little bit about Inquiry Hub. We have a director of instruction at the board office. His name is Stephen Whiffen, and he was the principal of Coquitlam Open Learning. I'm the principal now of Coquitlam Open Learning and Inquiry Hub. But he was the principal, and what he noticed 11 years ago was that there were students who were coming to online learning that had no interest in online learning. But what they didn't want is they didn't want to go into a class and sit and listen to a teacher and do exactly what they said for one block, and then do it for the next block, and then go to lunch, and then do that 2 more times at the end of the day. And so we were finding these students moving to online that didn't want online, they just didn't want what was being offered. And that was the premise that started us. And so he came to me and said, you know, well, what if we created a school where we still gave an excellent experience in all the core subjects that you have to do? This is not an alternate school, it's an alternate approach. So every student graduates with a regular degree just like any other high school. What if we gave them that really positive experience in their classrooms, but then did things in a unique way that allowed to create more space so that students had an opportunity in the day to actually follow their passions, and then the one more step is, and get credit for that. And so when you go to a big, huge high school, one of the advantages that we cannot compete with is you have lots of teachers and you can create a whole bunch of different electives. And some of those electives are great, but some of those electives are also, you go to this unique elective and you do exactly what the teacher says, and you kind of follow the same path. And what we say is, well, we can't provide the teachers to do that, but what we can do is we can provide an experience for you where you're going through that over and over again and practicing and figuring out what you want to do, and then you create your own elective. And we created a course that does that. And grade 9 and 10, it's really small, and we do small little projects getting bigger and bigger. And then in grade 11 and 12, they actually design a full year course called an IDS, Independent Directed Study, and they create their own elective from scratch. And we have students who do the required 100 to 120 hours worth of work, and we have some students that do 400 hours of that work. And that's not something they have to do, but it's something that they end up wanting to do and have the time to do. So that's a little bit of the history and where we evolved to. My next thing I was going to talk about was that idea of prepping for university, which I think Jay did a good job of. The thing that he touched on that I think is important to say is that I think what we are really focused on is what the new curriculum is focused on, and that is competencies. Students who go through our school are excellent communicators. They are people who understand how to work meaningfully in groups and how to be effective in presenting ideas verbally, visually, and also having those skills that I think that a lot of companies are looking for. But more than that, it's something that helps them just be really awesome human beings. I want to break that down a little bit now and talk about what it looks like for a grade 9, since most people here are interested. When a grade 9 comes into our school, we don't have the subjects broken into completely individualized subject areas. We do have math and French as separate subjects, and math is one of those subjects where, even though we like to integrate it, it's one of those subjects where a student going to UBC has to make sure they have all of those requirements met, and so that's why it's a separate course. But the core includes science, social studies, English, career life education, and applied skill and design course that students work in groups to do larger projects that integrate those subjects, not all of them at once, and it depends on the project. And the teacher, for example, on a Monday when you see core going from 8:55 all the way till lunch at 12:35, that's not a teacher talking for that entire time. A teacher might come in and have a really comprehensive lesson and spend an hour working with students, and then have another hour's worth of work for them to do before they can even move on to anything. And then the next time, that Monday can be a 15-minute, remember this is where we at, this is what we need to do, get to work, and the rest of the block is work. And during that time, students have their subjects that they have to work on, they have assignments by teachers, they have projects that they work in teams, and those teams are called, we actually do something that a lot of businesses use, which is Scrum, which is a business management strategy to get work done in a really effective way. We love Scrum because of a few things. Number one, it's really focused on figuring out what needs to be done and getting it done. And number two, it really divides up the work so that even people who don't like to work on group work understand that, oh, I can actually get a different mark than my other students, and I am responsible for this piece. I still have to work with the team, but I can actually individualize the thing that I'm working on within that. And that's the last point I'd like to focus on with that is we really teach students what it means to get work done. In some instances, that means defining done and just getting to that point. And then in other things, it's about excelling and doing something really amazing. And we split those two things up because we notice that a lot of perfectionists come to our school and they try to be good at everything and get everything to perfection, and that's not sustainable. And if you're a parent of someone like that, you're probably nodding right now. And so we do teach students, this is the definition of done, and you just need to get to this point to be done here. And then now you're doing your inquiry or a special project, and you can have your passion and just really make it perfect. So that's something that I wanted to mention. And that leads me right into, well, what's a good student that's a good fit for this program? Our students are so diverse, it's hard to nail any one thing down, but I know something for sure. If you're a parent who's pushing kids to get their homework done all the time, and they're handing in things late all the time, this is a scary, horrible place for students to come, because students who don't understand how to independently get stuff done don't know how to use those gaps in their day to be effective, and that's something really scary. But if you're a student who gets things done on time, notice I'm not even talking about grades, but get things done on time and you're effective at doing that. And if you're someone who likes to work on teams and you really are focused on being passionate about certain things and like I said, being self-directed to get your work done, the doors open up for you in a school like ours, right? We have students who go home and they have just like any other high school, they have a couple hours worth of homework. We also have students at this school that go home with only their passion projects because they're so effective at getting their work done at school. The only thing they're doing when they go home is the things they want to do, right? And the diversity is really there are a number of different students that can come here and be successful, and they figure those things out, and we provide support for it. But if you don't come preloaded with that sort of self-directedness, then it's a struggle. If you have that, even if you struggle in different areas, there are ways that we can support you. And then the last part, I think I've hit everything that they wanted me to hit. The last part is the application process. There's a very simple, very quick application that is at incorrub.org/apply, and we ask students, not parents, to do that form. It takes just a few minutes to fill it out, and that just tells us, yes, I'm actually interested in this. Doesn't mean you have to come here, it's just that you're interested. Starting tomorrow, what I'll be doing and going until the middle of January is we'll be looking at all those applications that come in. We will contact parents and ask them for a teacher to connect with. We'll send a very extensive questionnaire for students to do. And then if those go well, then the next step is an interview. And at that point, our goal is to have those interviews done by mid-February. We are not a school with a catchment, so we're not part of the cross-catchment process that schools do. So I do like to get that process done early enough that if a student doesn't get into our school, then they still have an option to do that cross-catchment if they're looking for something different. So that's my part right now. I am available to discuss things afterwards, but I just want to thank Jay again for putting him on the spot, and I'd like to thank the entire crew that takes so long to prepare. All the students that you see here are doing this on their own time, and I really appreciate the time that they do and the love that they have for the school, that they're willing to put that time in. So, and thank you all for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Truss and Jay. Now we're going to get onto the part I'm sure you are all waiting for, the Q&A. So I'm going to be having a live panel of students from every grade, and a teacher be coming up in just a minute. Just to start us off, we have a few pre-written, commonly asked questions, but if any of you in the audience have questions, please feel free to line up behind the microphone right there, and we would love to answer them. So the panel can come up now.
Hi, my name is Kay. I'm a grade 9 here at iHub.
Hello, my name is Mary. I'm a grade 10 here.
Hi, my name is Moby. I'm a grade 11.
Hi, my name is Mari. I'm also in grade 11.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie. I'm in grade 12.
Hello, I'm Kaylin, and I'm also in grade 12.
Hi, and I'm Tyler, Mr. Hopkins, and I'm a teacher here at Inquiry Hub.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to start off with a few questions just to get us started. So, why did you guys decide to come to iHub?
I decided to come to iHub because I was kind of an outcast in my old school, and I had a strong interest in nature and being outdoors a lot, so I wanted to pursue my interests, so I came to this school.
I came to Inquiry Hub because I was homeschooled for all my life before high school, and I was really nervous to transition from a homeschooling environment to a traditional schooling environment, and I wanted to find a school that I thought would be able to support me through that transition. And when I found iHub, I thought it would be a perfect match for me because it allows students to have so much free time to work on passion projects, which is what I was given when I was homeschooling. So I came to Inquiry Hub because it was a smooth transition for me from one environment to an actual traditional schooling environment.
What would you say sets iHub apart from other more traditional high schools?
There are quite a few things that sets it apart, but one big one for me personally would be the math course. While there are set deadlines of when work needs to be done, you can go ahead and do work at your own speed, which could be really fast or which it could be really slow. For me personally, I did 2 years of math in 1 year, and I really enjoyed that, so I'm just really glad that that's one of the subparts.
I'd like to mention that adding on to Mary's point about that is that the reason why we're able to do that is because all of our classes run year-round. We don't have 2 separate semesters. It's just from September to the end of June. And I feel like, is math the only course that we have that you can do that for? Or I think that. But adding on to the fact that it's a whole year-round thing, it's really nice to be able to just focus on like one thing at a time when you have it in your hands already and you're doing work, and not have to worry about like a dozen other things that need to get done in this set amount of time.
Cool. Again, if anyone in the audience has questions, feel free to line up behind that. All good. So what's iHub's community like? Why is it unique?
A thing I noticed a lot about iHub's community is that here there's no like societal pressure to be one way or another or to like one thing or another. Like for example, I arrived at Inquiry Hub terrified because I'm like, oh, what if people don't like the things I like, or what if they don't like the way I dress or the way I look? And it was kind of an overstatement because everyone just ended up being so welcoming, and it was really great.
As well, with our community piece, we work on things a lot together. This also means like cross-grade with the amount of time that we have in our classes where we are allowed to work on things on our own. So in my experience, this is different than most traditional schools. You can get a lot of collaboration with many different people, and you help your peers, which is something I think is really inspiring.
What have you guys accomplished at Inquiry Hub?
At Inquiry Hub, I have accomplished some of my favorite IDS projects and inquiry projects. Although the hours may seem intimidating, like 120 hours for an IDS, when you're doing something you really love, time flies quickly. I've accomplished learning how to jump horseback riding, and this year I'm trying to achieve my private pilot's license, so I'm aiming high for my last year in grade 12.
Yes, in the audience?
Is this on? Okay. I was wondering what, comparing this school to a traditional big high school, which a lot of them may have sort of grade 12 grad festivities that happen, like I think Best does a boat cruise and all that sort of big high school feeling. What does iHub have for grade 12 celebratory things? I guess the fear is, would somebody miss out on the big high school grade 12 festivities if they came to iHub?
That's actually something that's quite important to me. That was something I was wondering as well. So it is a little bit harder with a smaller school to do a lot of things, especially if you have a very small grad class. Our class, for example, we are trying to plan our own grad. We might not be able to do something like go on a boat, per se, but there are options. I'm sorry, I just can't think of anything right now. Do you have something?
Past classes have set up camping trips.
You want the mic?
Sorry if I may interject. I set the Teach Humanities here. Past classes have organized camping trips. They've done excursions like that, if I recall, up until 3 years ago, I think. Okay, and yes, so they did it last year. They just didn't remember doing it, apparently. Must have been really fun.
It wasn't for grad, but yeah.
There's only 15 people in our grad class, so it's really easy to do events like that. So it's a privilege, I think.
Yeah. Our grad itself, too, is quite a unique experience in that until COVID, basically, we invited the entire community to come. And so it's not just the grads, it's everybody. And so last year we were able to hold it live again. And what we did was we streamed it live for all the participants and the grads themselves and anyone who performed, because it's not just called iHub Grad, it's called iHub Annual, and it's a celebration of all of the students here. And then afterwards they did a grad social that was organized by our parents. So there are things, but you are right. You're not going to get the big dinner dance because it's hard to do that when it's the maximum graduating class we'll ever have is 30.
I was just going to add that we do have a leadership club at our school, so students are invited to create their own clubs about things that they're really passionate about. And we have a club here that is called Leadership, where students can organize events. So if you had a child or an upcoming student that was really interested in organizing events and bigger events, you can do that through joining a leadership club or making your own club. So we actually have, the Leadership Club is planning a school dance that we will have. So even though our school is smaller and we're not going to pretend like we have huge events like some more traditional high schools can offer, we do have opportunities for students to pursue what they're passionate about and to be involved in our smaller community.
What's an inquiry or IDS project, and what's an example of a personal one you've done?
I can answer the inquiry part. An inquiry project is basically a passion project, and you'll have like a specific time frame. So for example, an inquiry project might last 10 hours, it might be 15 hours, it might even be 30 hours, and that sounds intimidating, but because you're doing it about something that you're interested in, I feel it's much easier to get the work done. For example, my first inquiry project, I was actually out at a booth, if you visited me, it was a song, and I wrote it, I composed it, and I recorded it, and that was my first inquiry, my 10-hour inquiry, and I felt that it was really easy to get it done because I'm a very musical person, and I love music, my entire life revolves around music, so it was very easy to get it done, and I'm very happy with the result.
I'd just like to add, the main focus on our inquiry projects themselves is not about the product that we produce at the end, but instead the process and the learning that we took to get there. I'm in grade 11, so I get to do my very first IDS project this year, which stands for Independent Directed Study. So my project this year is a full 120-hour project. I'm doing a textiles project, so I did have to go on to the BC curriculum and look at all the curricular competencies so I can understand how to frame my project so that I can learn how I want to do this project and make something. And so far that making things, because I've never done textiles before, has been very bad. But I've still enjoyed it, and I think that's the most important part.
From the audience, yeah.
Hi, thank you. I have a question. I read on your website you have about less than 100 students. So considering the size of the school, I have a question for you guys. Can any of you guys answer how is the class format is like? I saw earlier the principal showed core math and then something in the afternoon. So I think my main question is, what are the resources is like at the school? Do you have individual teachers for individual subjects or something like that? Thank you.
Sure, I can talk to that. Yes, so we do have individual teachers for individual subjects. Some of us teachers here teach multiple subjects at the school. Actually, we all teach multiple subjects at the school. On the schedule that we saw earlier, you might have seen the block that was called core. So within that core block, a number of different courses can sort of be taught or combined. And so I teach humanities at the grade 9 and 10 level, so I'll teach English and social studies. And a lot of that is blended together. So we'll do a project around maybe a certain historical event, and they'll also learn a skill for English language arts in that as well. We also, we have, was it 5 teachers now? 6 teachers? I have to do the math here. So yes, we do have teachers for each class. Teachers are supervising the DCLs, or Dream, Create, Learn times as well. So there's a teacher in the room that can help students with whatever they're working on. Yes, so there's teachers for every block.
That was the grade 9 schedule. Can the grade 11 girls talk about what their schedule is like?
My schedule, I have quite a lot of DCL time, which stands for Dream, Create, Launch, or Learn, which is time I can spend on working on either homework or my project I'm working on year-long. So my schedule would look like on an average, I'd say on an average day, I'd have 1 to 3 classes, but some of the classes will last longer than just your average like 45-minute class. So I'll have a class for like an hour and a half or so.
Next question.
Is there ever like a time when people from different grades get to interact, like during academic blocks and not like just lunch?
Students around the school get to interact with each other almost constantly, and I think at iHub sometimes grades just matter less than in other schools. Sometimes when I see a student, I just see them as a student. I don't necessarily even remember what grade they're in because we're so mixed as a school. I think because we're such a small community, we kind of just blur the lines between grades and we are all just one large community. We get to spend time together in our DCL blocks. If you want to work with another student or you want to talk about your work, you get to do that. And then there's also opportunities outside of just lunch blocks and everything where you can work in the same room as other grades and just be in communication with other people, and it doesn't really matter what grade they're in.
I had something to say, and so we last year and previous years before COVID, we have done a school-wide play where it's really embarrassing for most of us. We get into groups and we each perform a scene from a movie. Last year it was Macbeth, and so all the grades are in all the groups. That doesn't really make sense, but there's like 2 9s, 2 10s, maybe 1 11 and 1 12, and so all the grades intermix for their own projects, and that's, yeah.
With that question, we're going to wrap up the live stream portion. There will still be a Q&A going on, but we're just going to wrap up the online portion, just to let all our online viewers know. However, if you still have a question, please feel free to stay, and we'll keep answering them. Go ahead.